What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 41 of the Blue River Bowhunting Podcast. I'm Brett Morris, your host. I got Jordan Brown from Michigan this week talking with me. What's going on, dude?
Not a whole lot, brother. What's going on?
Oh, not too much. You ready to talk some hunting?
Absolutely.
I know I get quite a few pictures on my phone, text messages from my buddies up at Mid-State Outdoors in the Michigan area. He's been sending me some dandies. I think Michigan maybe go overlooked a little bit.
I personally think so. I know there's quite a few places in Michigan that they got quite a few nice bucks, and unfortunately, you see them in the off season more than anything. But
yeah, that's what I was telling him when he sends me these pictures. I'm like, hey, this is still summertime. This is still summertime patterns, bachelor groups. I seem like I've been highly fooled on that sort of thing before. I try not to think about it too much when running cameras in the summer because I just get my hopes up, and then the buck that you think that you want to go after completely disappears.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the same thing with me. I put my trail cameras out, but I don't pay attention to anything that goes on this time of year, really, just because as soon as it gets closer to October, they just disappear.
Absolutely. So for somebody that doesn't know you, introduce yourself a little bit.
So I'm Jordan Brown, out of Michigan. Just grew up watching people hunt, watching the people on TV, almost the same as everyone else about my age.
Yeah,
even older than that. But no, just grew up watching hunting and kind of watched my uncles hunt. And I wouldn't say anyone ever really taught me how to hunt per se, but I watched my uncles hunt. They never really wanted to take me with them, and it was one of them things that kind of just made myself, or I got real determined to learn how to do it, and ended up kind of teaching myself the bow and got my first deer with a gun, but wanted to get into archery after that. And
I think a lot of people's first deer comes with a gun.
Yep,
I mean, there are some select few, I'm sure, that are out there listening right now that probably just interrupted me saying that, like, hey, I killed one with a bow, But I think a lot of times, at a younger age, it's easier for you to have that success with a gun. Back in when I grew up hunting, it was shotguns and muzzleloaders. Now you get to whip out the rifles. I don't know if you were able to rifle hunt at a young age, but I wasn't able to hunt with a rifle until I was like 30 years old. So, shotgun, we always called it shotgun season. Shotgun season this weekend, Orange Armory, that sort of thing. But technically that's not the correct season for it anymore. They call it firearm season.
Yeah, firearm. And I grew up calling it shotgun season too. I still call it shotgun season.
I do too.
Me and my buddies, it's like, hey, you gonna get one during shotgun season? And but they're changing the game with certain, like here in Michigan. There's still certain areas where in Michigan, pretty much all you can use is a shotgun, aside from a muzzle loader. Like we got it. I know not a lot of people, unless you're from Michigan, will understand this, but we always say, you're south of 14 Mile, you can't use a rifle, because certain places. But they're getting ways around that with like the 450 Bushmaster and the 350 Legend, and I mean because it's a straight cartridge, so you can use that in shotgun territory.
Yeah, we were able to do that here too for years. I remember a few guys using those, and it was pretty neat back then because it was like, man, you're still using a rifle kind of thing or whatever. But I don't know, man. The old trusty 12-gauge smoothbore back in the day, dusting some doe. When you're younger, you go through that stage of you just want to be successful. You don't know what you're quite doing just yet. You're having a lot of fun doing it, and I can remember having a whole shotgun full of shells and just unloading that whole gun. which got me in trouble with my dad quite a bit back in the day. I can remember sitting down on opening day of gun season and just unloading on some does and stuff like that. And he's like, dude, I haven't even seen a deer yet.
My uncle, one of the ones that hunted, my first time ever going out sit by myself with my 12 gauge. I had buckshot, I had slugs. I didn't know what either of them meant, but I did it anyway. But I go out in the woods, and I kid you not, I had 2 full boxes of buckshot, like 2 boxes. And he's like, "What the hell are you gonna do with all of those?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "You shouldn't need more than one."
That's awesome. So tell us how you got started or involved in the outdoors.
So I mainly got started in the outdoors. You mean like the outdoor industry, or just hunting in general?
No, just hunting in general.
Just hunting in general. Okay. So it was mainly going back to, watching Sportsman's Channel. I grew up in a house, we didn't have a lot of premium channels and all that other stuff. So, and I've always had this fascination with watching hunting on TV. So I'd go out to my grandmother's on the weekends, and my grandparents at the time, I thought they were rich just because they had premium channels. But I used to go out there, and I'd stay up real late, and I'm not sure what channel it was on. It may have been the Sportsman's Channel, but there was always hunting on TV late at night, and I'd watch it a little bit, and there was people like David Blanton on TV and Michael Waddell and stuff like that. And I always look forward to watching it. And one of them things growing up, I was like, I want to do what those guys are doing, man. I want to hunt for a living. I want to be on TV. It piqued my interest a lot. And then just watching the strategies and stuff that they did, sitting in the stand and, whispering, always that whisper talk. Like, I want to do that in camera one day.
Did you have like a favorite show that was you had to watch it? I went through that stage too of watching hunting channel and stuff back in the heyday when it was big. North American Whitetail with Stan Potts and Greg Miller and those guys. Man, I would obsess over watching that show. And I think that's probably why I got such into the scent game as I grew up, because it's just something that you watch them do on TV.
Yep. One big one that I liked was Monster Bucks, and I liked watching that. Of course, that's a real original answer, right? But that was one that I really liked watching, and I always used to say me and Bill Jordan were related just because my first name is Jordan. It's
that's awesome.
just a bunch of stupid stuff. But no, that was one real big one that I like to watch a lot.
That was cool. I always remember watching Stan Potts back in the day shoot one, and you got to hold on a second, folks. I'm all worked up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would make me laugh. But they were shooting, oh my God. I mean, they were shooting absolute giants back in the day when, Thompson Center Encores and all those guns were popular and coming out, and everybody on TV was using them, and seemed like they were always shooting Matthews back then. I know that sort of thing changes over the years when it comes to whoever your title sponsor is, but still pretty cool.
Yeah.
But talk about Michigan. I want to hear like some traditions maybe you have with your family, or just some kind of the terrain you're hunting and where you're at there in Michigan.
So a lot of the terrain I like to hunt out here is just woods. Now, basically, I like to be in the thick stuff. I like it. It provides me a lot more cover. I mean, I guess that also could be because I'm really used to a lot of private land than anything over here. Because I mean, there's a lot of public land, but we go back to the Orange Army again for the public land. So I don't typically hunt that a whole lot. I try and stick to private land if I can, but I like to be in the real thick stuff. Just kind of see if I can hide myself in there a little bit better. And I'm actually going to get into saddle hunting in there, hopefully next year. But as for I'm jumping all over the place here.
My next question was, so that's a next year kind of goal. It's not something you're going to try this year?
Yeah, that's something I'm going to try next year. I'm getting too close. I mean, opening day is 53 days away right now. And I've wanted to try saddle hunting, but I don't think it's one of them things that I'm going to try jumping in right away until I can, get one, probably put it in a tree in my backyard, actually practice getting on, getting up, and just do that for a solid month before I'm comfortable with just climbing up in a tree.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Kentucky Labor Day weekend with some buddies, velvet hunting down there, and that's going to be my first go at it. Now
Okay.
they've been making fun of me because they call Kentucky practice. They go down there and they have a good time and and just enjoy themselves, but they work their kinks out. For the real stuff. I mean, obviously that's real, but as far as like the rut and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, hey, I've already been practicing. I'm going full force on this saddle thing. I finally got everything. You should see my backpack back in the day, prior to this season. I'm a big film guy. I film all my hunts, and the camera arm that I used was like really heavy with the base. And now I've just like condensed my bag to where basically the only thing in my bag will be a water bottle, my platform. I'll be carrying my climbing sticks in, obviously, and my camera and the camera arm. There's only going to be a few things in that bag, and it just feels good to have that kind of weight off my back, obviously. But I'm super excited about the saddle hunting thing. I've been having some fun shooting in the yard, sort of thing, but it still doesn't simulate actually getting up there and actually doing it.
Yeah.
But
no, and
what kind of saddle are you think you're gonna try to roll with? Is a certain company that you like?
I'm on the fence between Tethered and then is it Trophy Line or Trophy Ridge?
Trophy Line, that's what I have.
Yeah. I've got a buddy that uses Trophy Line, and he keeps swearing by it, and then I hear some other buddies that talk about Tethered, and I don't know. I'm not 100% sure yet. I keep hearing that they have these places where you can go and actually try them out, like at the shows, and
right.
certain dealers apparently have like a telephone pole set up to where you can actually go in, try it on, climb it and stuff, and kind of see how it feels and everything. I kind of live in the middle of nowhere, so I haven't gotten around to going and doing that yet. But
yeah, same. I wanted to do the same thing. It sounded something that I wanted to do because I wanted to do saddle hunting. And then I got to a certain point where that wasn't really an option anymore. So I said, screw it, let's do it. I'll just start buying pieces at a time. Because you have to buy your saddle, you have to buy your lineman's belt unless you already have one. I did already have one, but I wanted one just for this. And then I had buy your tethered and then your platform. And then most people that are into that kind of thing already had sticks. I have sticks, but not those kind of sticks. I wanted super lightweight, all go together. You know what I mean?
Put it up, grab it, yank it down, and
But it's going to be an adventure for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm going to be able to get in some trees that wouldn't normally be able to get into unless I, went up with a saw or something like that. That's another thing that's actually in my bag too. It will be a saw. I'm sure I'll need that at some point. But I'm ready for it, man, for sure.
No, and that's what my buddy Brad keeps saying about the Trophy Line is. I was actually talking to him on the phone a few days ago about it, and he said, man, I'm telling you what, you get one of them saddles, you can go, it's different than tree stand hunting. He said, you can go in any tree you want. He said, it doesn't matter. And he's said, when you see a deer, you can literally make yourself invisible. You can shift yourself out of the way. You're not sitting on a platform just stuck there.
Right.
And then he said, if you want to run and gun, you can go do that in the morning, then hop down real quick, go find another tree, minimal noise, and, pick any tree you want. And I'm really I think I'm going to do it. I'm real nervous about it. You know why? We're going to talk about that soon.
Yeah. Well, what about so you're not doing the saddle thing yet? As far as stand setups, you said you were hunting private property. Is it something that you go in preseason, cut your lanes, put lock-ons in, or are you hunting ladder stands? What kind of setup you got?
Yeah, I use lock-ons. I've got one ladder stand. I had a customer of mine that just gave me one, so that's the only ladder stand I have. But I'm not turning down a tree stand.
Right.
But usually I use lock-on stands. I try and get about 25 to 30 feet, somewhere in there. But, yeah, typical preseason, I go out, check all my stand setups, make sure everything is, if anything's overgrown or anything like that. And because I honestly leave them up all year round, so I have to jump up in them and test them, make sure my straps are still good and the squirrels aren't gnawing on them and all that other stuff. So I don't go up there opening day and sit down and fall.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very fun.
No, not even a little bit.
Well, what about so it's just strictly lock-ons? Is it so? How do you go about setting stand locations? What are you basing your stand locations off of?
So I used to base it off of when I was really new into hunting. I used to base it off of this looks nice. This looks nice.
I've done that a lot.
If I was a deer, I'd walk through here. It's but then I just kind of I started basically what I do is when I find a new place, before I put stands up or anything, I put out my trail cameras. I use cell cams, so it's relatively easy for cell cams are awesome, man.
They are
because you ain't got to be there. It's you don't have to set them up and come back a week later and then check them to see if their deer even moving. You can know in 2 days whether or not there's deer moving through there.
Right.
But that's typically what I do, and then I try and set myself up off of where I'm putting those cameras a little bit. Just kind of like a strategic, they're going that way, so I'm going to go put it up in that direction somewhere. And I kind of go off of that. I like it to be a little bit more of a, I like it to be a surprise of what's actually going to walk up on me. I don't like to see every single thing that walks up on me, which is why in certain areas of private land, I don't even use trail cameras. I kind of just go with the flow of what I think is going to happen. And if that season it doesn't happen, then I'll saddle up my stand and move it to a new spot.
I have done the same thing in the past, and it bit me last year. Actually,
really?
had a place that I got first year ever hunting it. I had a cell cam up on a ridge, so it was basically the only thing that I'd been seeing without going in there. But I had just a regular SD card camera at the bottom of the ridge, and one night I went in there, harvested my buck last year. Pulled the other camera as I was leaving, and what do you know? 2 or 3 bucks on that camera that were bigger than the one I shot. But like you said, I was going with the flow. I was having a fun time. I don't regret anything. I still had an amazing time doing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've had a couple of times where I've regretted doing certain things. I mean, because I'll tell you what, man. I never used to play the wind, and I've regretted a lot of stuff since I started.
So, are you? With that being said, are you a scent control kind of guy, or something you just play the wind for the most part?
No, I do play the wind. I started playing the wind a lot more, focusing on that after I actually looked into it a little bit. I don't go as big as like looking into thermals and all that other stuff. I just kind of, when I'm heading out to my stand, I got my baking soda in my little squirt bottle. So I'll check the wind as I get out there, and then I check the wind for the night before and just kind of go off of that. I mean, sometimes I've even wanted to hunt a certain area, but I'll do it from the ground just because of the wind change and everything when I actually get out there. But I'm real big on scent control. I'd say I'm a little bit too big on scent control. 'Cause I'm one of those guys. I wash my clothes after every single hunt. Every single hunt that I come home, they go in the wash, then they're in the bin after they're dry. And most of the time I air dry. So I don't want them sitting in nothing else. I hand wash some of my clothes so that laundry detergent doesn't get on there or anything like that. And I'm pretty anal about that.
I know exactly what you mean. Ever really since I would say 17, 18 years old, I was the same way. Back then it was a lot different. It's progressed so much. Back in the day, everybody used the wafer clips. Remember those?
Yep,
you used those, and just the scent killer. I feel like that certain brand scent killer was big back then. Now we have 50 options to choose from now.
Oh yeah.
But the last, I would say last year, beginning of last year, going into this year, I'm still I wouldn't say as much anal on it as I used to be, because I'm around these people that are laughing at what I'm doing, and I'm like, dude, I've always done it this way. You can see behind me, I haven't had that bad of luck when it comes to that. But these guys are killing giants, and they wash their hunting clothes once a year, maybe. And I'm like, man, I don't think I could do that. You know, the first doe I hit during bow season, you know, and get a little something on me, or you never know what could happen. You know, the center console of my truck, I have like a body spray type of thing in there and cologne and stuff for everyday normal life. And I can remember I got it caught on there when I shut the center console, and it just sprayed me, and I was just like freaking out, like, oh, I got to take my clothes home right away, throw them in the wash. Mm-hmm. But I think it's something I don't look at as much anymore compared to how I used to be anyways.
No, and that reminds me of a customer that I had. I went to his house, and I'm doing my install and everything. I install underground dog fences, by the way.
Nice. That's awesome.
So I was out there doing his install, and afterwards we got done, did his training, and yada, yada, yada. And I noticed he had some deer similar to the ones you got behind you there. Up in his garage. So, you know, I built up a rapport with him almost instantly, because then we started talking about hunting and all that other stuff. And then I started telling him about a company I was field staffing with at the time. And he's like, what are you doing all that stuff for? I'm like, you know, a lot of it works. I mean, he's like, you know what I use? And then he said, come here. So I went into his house, go down in his basement, and there are deer everywhere. Way bigger deer than I've seen in my entire life. He said, I go to Walmart and I spend $15. And he says, every time I walk into the woods, I spray myself down with apple cider.
Really?
He said, that's it. Apple cider. Just apple cider. He said he sprays his boots with it, sprays his body with it. He'll go to a cider mill the beginning of the season when they start selling it. And he'll pick up 5 gallons of it. And if he uses it, he uses it. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. But he says you can dump it on the ground. You can spray yourself down with it. And he says, you don't ever have to use scent control again. Wow. That makes me nervous. I ain't going to do that. But
no, I probably won't do that. I have never heard that before. I'm not saying the guy is wrong by any means, because you never know what could work for you. You know, there's tons of cover scents out there, or, you know, I'm trying to think of that one, nose jammer.
Nose jammer.
I normally wouldn't, you know, talk about a product like that, but I saw it work firsthand, and I was like, okay, this can actually work. I was with a buddy. Of course, we did the nose jammer, and we had the ozonics running, so it doesn't really matter what it was. We were trying to prevent our scent that day, and with it being cold and windy, and we had deer, we had 15, 20 deer walk right underneath our stand. And I have video evidence of this. Actually, I had to put audio over. I had to put like a little song in there on the YouTube, because the only thing you can hear with these deer coming in is the ozonics, and it sounds like there's a damn diesel truck at the bottom of my tree stand, but it's just the ozonics. So I put a little country music in there to break up the monotony of hearing that diesel run in the background.
Now, I've never used one of those. So is that just because the mic is picking it up, or?
Yeah, the mic's super sensitive. You could hear a mouse fart at 40 yards, and with that thing being, you know, 2 foot above me or so, it's just a constant noise, and it literally sounds like there's a semi at the bottom of my tree stand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, so I bet you got people that might have seen that video before the music and were like, why are those deer still standing there? What is going on?
Well, the first time I, after the hunt, went back, put it in my computer, and I'm sitting there with my headphones on. I'm like, what in the hell is that noise? And I couldn't figure it out. But every video had that noise for that day. And incredible day. Like I said, saw 30-some deer. I shot a doe. It was like the last day of gun season. I still had a doe tag left. Buddy that I was taking had a doe tag left. We're like, we're shooting freaking does today. Like, this is the last day of gun season. Let's do it. He ended up harvesting one, and I did too. But at the beginning of that video, prior to us getting down, all you can hear is that ozonics, and it drove me nuts, and I really haven't used one since.
Well, I've never got into one. I never really looked into how they worked. I remember when they first came out, those things were on the Sportsman's Channel like crazy. It was every other commercial was ozonics.
I feel like they're like way overpriced for what they are.
Oh yeah, that's why I don't own one.
$800-900 or something. Yeah, and there's some different brands you can go with, or whatever. But it's kind of unnecessary, to be honest with you.
I personally don't think it is. I mean, if you're going to go that big into it, I say just play the wind. Just
Yeah.
scent control and play the wind. You do both of them, you're going to be successful, I think, personally.
Well, like they always joke, your granddaddy did it with the red flannel and a Marlboro hanging out of his mouth. You know what I mean?
No, I hear that all the time too. Whenever someone a little bit older sees me in camo or something like that, especially the biggest one is in the gas stations, because I'll stop at a gas station, in the morning on my way to my spot and stuff like that, and grab a snack in this tree and a drink and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, that's a little unnecessary."
With you saying that reminds me, and I need to start asking this question because it's a good question. What's your number one go-to snack for a tree stand?
Pop-Tarts, chocolate fudge.
Ooh, that's not a bad pick. I've done Pop-Tarts a lot too, but I would say my number one snack, and I usually have to put it in a different baggie, but it's like the Cheetos, like jalapeno little ball things. I don't even know what they're called, but they come in like a long sleeve. I'll just put them in like a Ziploc bag and put them in my bag, but man, those things are so good.
my three favorite things I always bring in the tree: the chocolate fudge Pop-Tarts. I'll go to to Walmart and get those rolled up wax balls of cheese. Mm-hmm. I'll take those two, and then Tootsie Rolls. Those are my three favorite things. And
awesome.
Little tip for people out there that are watching: so if you get smaller binoculars, you can actually use your bino harness as a snack pack.
I seen your TikTok on that. I think that's actually like the first. When I hit the follow button on your thing, I thought, this dude's hilarious. I'm definitely following on this. Which, with that being said, that's actually how me and Jordan met, was on TikTok. Which I seem to be running into a lot of people, a lot of very cool people on the TikTok game, and I think actually one of my next guests is going to be a guy that's a cameraman. So and I met him on TikTok too, which it's social media can be such a bad thing at times, but it can also be such a cool thing with the relationships you make with people on your own terms. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got some friends just from being involved in hunting posts, just sharing posts and doing tags like whitetail hunting Michigan. I've got friends that I've known for now like 8 years from that. Yeah. I've never met half of them, but I know who they are on Facebook though.
There you go. So I know you have a story when it comes to falling out of your tree stand at a younger age. Talk about that a little bit.
So I was one of them. I never wore a harness. Never, ever wore a harness. And I was always told to wear one, but I didn't. So I was one of those guys where I was, it could never happen to me. But unfortunately it did. So I was 15 going on 16, I think. It was wintertime. I was walking out to my uncle's stand because I didn't have one set up at the time. And I was climbing up, and I tied my gun to my rope, climbed up, and, of course, didn't have a harness on. And I sat up there, flipped the seat down, and I bent over to grab my rope, and I slipped on some ice and snow that was on his tree stand and fell about 20, 25 feet. And luckily, I landed right on my back because it could have been a lot worse. I could have landed on my head. I could have broken something, but I landed right on my back, which, by the way, 2-3 feet of snow does not break your fall. It hurts just as bad.
I guarantee it.
Don't try it to prove me wrong, but it hurts.
I
think I laid there. Gosh, it's hard to remember because that was like almost 13. That was 13 years ago. I laid there for about maybe 3.5, 4 hours, just laying there. I was awake. I was alert. I didn't actually pass out or anything. I was just kind of stunned by what happened. I was, just could not believe that it happened. And I eventually got up, and then I went back to the house, and I kind of limped back to the house a little bit. And I've worn a harness. I'm not gonna lie. I probably didn't wear a harness for probably another 3 years after that. I was kind of stupid.
It happens, man. We're young. We were young at one point. We made stupid decisions back. Well, sometimes I still make stupid decisions, but I'm with you though. I had an accident. I wouldn't say an accident like that. I didn't fall from that kind of height. not even half that probably, but it still hurt like a motherfucker. So I started wearing a harness too. I just got the hunter safety system. Unbelievable, man. I still wear it to this day. Saddle hunting is going to take over a little bit, so I'm not going to use it as much. But there will be times that I'm going to preset stands, and you can bet that I'll have that hunter safety system on.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And what made it even worse is because then I got to a point where I was, I was wearing it, not wearing it, wearing it, not wearing it. I had one. Whether or not I forgot it, decided whether or not I'd wear it, basically. Mm-hmm. And then I married someone who works at a hospital.
Me too.
Yeah, there you go. And first time I took her hunting, that was actually, believe it or not, that was our first date.
Nice.
Yeah, she saw the deer that me and my buddy got on Facebook, and she had never wanted to go out with me because she's 4 years older than me. And she said, can you teach me how to shoot my bow? And all. She had a Browning bow or something like that. And I said, I'll teach you how to shoot your bow if you let me take you to dinner.
Ooh, nice. Casanova.
Yeah, I know. It worked. She told me 7 times it wasn't a date, but 7 years later, here we are.
That's awesome. I've taken my wife years back before we were married. I've taken her a few times deer hunting. We had actually a guy. He doesn't hunt anymore, but we had a guy. I don't know actually how he did it. I'd love to know. But he was another guy that had permission on this piece. That he doesn't anymore. I'm the only person allowed in there now. But he was in a wheelchair, and he had a double man ladder stand. I don't even know how he got up at. I always, when he was there, I kind of let him do his own thing. But he had a double man stand, and one day he wasn't hunting, so I took her and we went up in that double man stand, and it was even like mid-October, I think. Mid-October, late October. I don't think it was even late October yet. Just an awesome fall morning, and she's like, this is way too cold for me.
Yep, that's the same as mine is. We climbed up in the stand first time. She had a problem with me not wearing a harness for one. So that changed quick. That was just when we were dating. But she's sitting up there, so she gets cold real easily. So like 2 days before we go out there, we go out to, I think we went to Dick's Sporting Goods. We got her some insulated boots, bought her some camo, bought her a jacket, and then we get up in the tree the next day or whatever and set it up. She's facing me and I'm facing her. Just kind of, I want her to be comfortable with it. So I kind of put her in a little clutch of trees where she could put her arm out to kind of hold on and stuff because she had never been. Mm-hmm. And she's sitting there and she's like, it's cold. And then she reaches in her jacket and then pulls out this Irish whiskey and starts drinking it.
Nice. That'll warm you up real quick.
Exactly. But and then that first morning we went out there, I didn't shoot anything just because I wanted her to experience a little bit. Plus there was a nice buck I was chasing out there. But she's like, where are the deer at? I said, there's 2 deer right over there. They're standing right there. And she's like, oh my gosh, there they are. That's awesome. I think we saw about 8 deer that morning, and not the one that I wanted. Saw a small little buck. I think it was like a 4-point or something like that. But she had a good time, and then she went out one more time after that. And then after that, she said, "Babe, it's too cold. I can't do that." And I'm like, we even bought her. I mean, I kid you not, man. This was maybe 2 or 3 months into dating. And I bought her new strings for her bow, and then after that, we got her a new Hoyt Rampage, the Vixen edition or something like that. Bought that for her. She shot it a bunch, and seemed like she was going to get real interested in it. She was getting damn good too. And then it was like, too cold. I'm not doing that.
That's awesome.
So her bow.
Go ahead, buddy.
Her bow's been sitting downstairs in the case for the last 7 years. And I still pull it out every year. I pull it out every year, wax a string, just hoping one day she'll say, take me with you. But
I'll say I'm sure some of those Michigan morning and evenings can get pretty chilly up there.
Oh yeah. It's real. This state is weird, man. I love it, but it's got bipolar when it comes to weather for sure. It's, you could be looking at a sun right in front of you and turn around and there's a tornado heading your way with rain coming and all that. It's man, especially when it's changing the seasons. Like it'll fake like it's gonna get into a season, like especially around wintertime. It'll fake it and give you a 28-degree day, and then the next day it's 65, and it's like, what's happening here? And
I had a lot of fun up there this year turkey hunting. I didn't realize the state of Michigan had so many turkeys until I went up there, and I was able to harvest one on my second go at it, my second trip up there this past spring season. But I had pretty good weather most of the time when I was up there. We had one day, it was maybe high 70s, low 80s, and it got kind of warm out there in the sun. But for the most part, beautiful weather, man. I love it up there. I didn't know that I would love it that much, but the more time I spend up there, the more that I love it.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. If you're one of them guys that's kind of like me that likes the country area, I don't know if you've ever been, but you got to go to the UP. The UP is awesome. I love it.
I've been close to the UP. I've never been all the way up in there. I was actually supposed to go on a hunt like the third week of November up there on a Drummond Island, I believe is what it's called.
Yep.
I was supposed to go up there actually with some NASCAR drivers for a hunt, but it turns out I'm not going to be able to make that trip. But
I'll go. Tell them I'll go.
Right. It was a dream come true. I'm a huge racing fan in general. Ward Burton, Jeb Burton's going to be up there filming their show for the Outdoor Channel. I was super jacked, but it doesn't line up with some time that I'm taking off work already to deer hunt, because I don't know about you, but most people that are into it pretty thick, you pretty much already have your fall mapped out months in advance.
What, buddy? Sorry, I got my 5-year-old.
Oh, you're fine, buddy. I'm sure you'll get him in the woods one of these days. What's up, buddy?
My TV turned off.
Oh man!
I'll come do it soon. Okay.
I'll let him get off here soon so he can fix your TV.
All right, go play with the cats in your room real quick.
You're good, buddy. What about bow? What kind of bow you rocking?
So I'm a big Hoyt guy. My first bow was my grandfather's 19 ancient something Fred Bear. Sounded like a shotgun when you released
Right.
it. I don't know how anyone ever killed anything with that thing, because every deer I've shot at ducked. And they had time too, because you could watch it travel.
Shooting 100 feet per second.
Oh God! I remember the first time I took that thing to get restrung, just because the string was fraying. The thing was ancient, and he's like, "I don't know if we make a string this big." And they had one left, one in stock, so he got that. But after that bow, I pretty much got into Hoyt. I bought my first used. It's a Hoyt something ultra rather. I got it for $200 on Craigslist.
Nice.
And then I got a Hoyt Alpha Max, which was the big one that I love because it had Bone Collector Edition on it.
Yep, I remember that bow.
Yeah, I got that one. I fell in love with that bow. And
I bet.
I'd shot that one for quite a few years. And then my wife actually, I'd never bought a new bow. I typically don't buy a lot of anything. I just, if it works and it looks good, I'll use it. I don't care.
Right.
But my wife in 2017, she's like, you're gonna get a new bow. And I was like, no, we ain't got to do that. You know how much bows are?
Right.
She's like, oh, how much could they be? $1,500 later, she was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
She's like,
maybe she can call my wife and give her that explanation. I could use a new bow. I'm sort of got a new bow in the works. It's so hard for me to get rid of the one I got, because I'm so comfortable with it. You can shoot absolute tacks with it.
Yep.
But I'm going to kind of use it for my Midwest whitetail sort of stuff. But I want a bow that I can take out west and shoot long distances, 60, 70, 80 yards or whatever.
Yep.
I got some stuff in the works. I may be doing some out west hunting stuff in the next couple of years. So I'm definitely going to be switching it up a little bit. But the one I'm actually might be acquiring is a Hoyt, actually.
Okay. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, she pushed me to get that bow in 2017. I didn't want to. I was like, this one works just fine. I'm fine. If you want me to get a new bow, I can get a used one. That's fine. And she pushed for it, and I eventually caved. And not a lot of people out there be like, nah, I'm fine. I'm fine. She got it, and I shot that one. That was the Hoyt Pro Defiant Turbo, first ever brand new bow. It was in the box. They gave it to me. Still had the zip tie around the strings, and said no one had ever shot it, so that was kind of a special feeling. And this last year, I've got a Hoyt theme going on now. I don't know if you realize that, but my boss got me a Hoyt RX-5 brand new as a Christmas bonus.
Nice.
So I've got that, and they asked if I was going to sell my old bow. I guess it might have known someone that was going to possibly want it, but I can't get rid of it because it's my first ever brand new bow my wife got me. So I'm going to be stuck with that thing forever. I can't.
Yeah. The one that I'm looking at is the Hoyt Nitrum.
Okay. Yep.
It's a couple years older model. I think it's maybe a 2019.
That's a good
model.
bow. That's not one of them. That's a good bow.
Yep. I'm probably going to set it up for some longer range stuff compared to, the old 3-pin that I use here in the Midwest, shooting 20, 30, 40 yards. That's all I need for here in the Midwest. But speaking of Midwest, have you ever traveled outside Michigan to do any whitetail hunting?
I want to. I really want to. When I hit, because I'm only 29, when I hit the peak of the time when I was going to plan on doing all that stuff, I got married.
Right.
So I got married, bought a house, had a kid, and I don't regret any of it. I love it.
Absolutely.
But I do have a lot of bucket list hunts that I want to do. My main one is Alaska moose hunt with a bow.
That'd be badass.
That's one I want to do. That's if I do any hunt, that's the one I'm going to do before anything else. But yeah, no, I want to go to Colorado for elk, and I've got a lot of stuff I want to do.
Me too, and I know that I'll never probably get to do half of it. That's why, actually, the episode that posted before this episode 40. I had Zach Hansen on from Idaho, and he has given me an open invite to come out to Idaho, chasing spring bear. Some of the other stuff is kind of like a tag I got to put in for the tags, but like over-the-counter muleys and stuff like that. And he's got 3,000 plus acres right out his back door in a remote village of Idaho. So that sounds so awesome. I just have to figure out travel when it comes to that. I know
he gave you a +1, right?
We can probably work that out.
If you do, I'll pay for the travel. I don't care.
But the bear thing has been probably on the top of my list for quite some time. I've really wanted to shoot a bear for a long time.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
They got some bears up there in Michigan, don't they? The UP.
Yep, we got some black bears up here. You don't see them very often, but they're definitely here. You occasionally will see them in my neck of the woods. They're more north than anything.
I saw some up in Wisconsin when I went up there a couple years ago. I saw a couple black bears, which was pretty wild to see from the tree stand when you're not used to that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely crazy. I've seen a couple of them up in Baldwin here in Michigan. It's always by accident. I could go out I've actually gone out and looked for them. I've never seen one actually looking for them.
That's awesome.
But and I'm always planning on seeing one up in the UP because I have a lot of my family up there, so I go there every year for 4th of July or family reunion. Mm-hmm. And family up there is like, oh, we see them all the time. I'm like, I ain't never seen one. They're like, oh yeah, they're everywhere. Okay.
What about you talked about the brand ambassador thing a few times. What all brands are you rocking right now?
So my one that I'm with right now for camo clothing is Nexus Outdoors. That's basically scent lock or blocker, scent shield.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome because that's what I prefer. I wear everything scent blocker.
I'll tell you what. Did you see their new pattern they just came out with?
I haven't checked that. I don't think I've been on the website in a while. I know I get a lot of emails and stuff from them, but no, I haven't checked it out, man. I have to check it out.
Are you Mossy Oak or Realtree guy?
I'm a real tree guy.
Oh,
I've been real tree for a long time. I mean, I'm one of those guys, and anybody who's listening to this or watching it, you can make fun of me all you want, but all my stuff matches. And I'm a real tree edge type of guy right now. That's been one of my favorite patterns. But there's nothing against Mossy Oak. It's just a preference. That Mossy Oak bottomland, man, that stuff's slick.
I'll tell you what, they got a new Mossy Oak Terra Outland that just got released this year, and it's exclusive to Nexus, so you can only get it in Blocker or ScentLock.
Nice.
It's exclusive to just them. Blocker just released their mid-season fall. Part of that, the early season hasn't come out yet, and then ScentLock is in the works of releasing theirs right now. But I'll tell you what, man, that's if you hunt in a place with green, that's gonna be a nice spot, nice camo.
Man, I like I said, I get the emails telling me when certain stuff goes on discount and stuff like that. And I made one of the biggest purchases camo-wise I have in a very long time, money-wise, last summer I made the purchase. But I bought the top and bottom of the thermal hybrids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Talk about a game changer, man. Them things are so comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect late October gear. I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's even got the hole in the wrist. You can either put your thumb through it or your release or whatever it is that you want to do with it. But a lot of times that was all I wore. And, man, it was just so comfortable. It got a little hot sometimes, maybe when I wasn't expecting it to be hot, or maybe just had to walk a little bit further. But, man, that stuff was perfect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Have you ever seen their Predator Quest line that's on there?
I have. Mm-hmm.
That stuff is warm. That stuff is warm. Oh man, I put it on just to try it when I got there. I had to take it off almost instantly because I tried it on when it was hot outside, and I was like, oh my god, felt like someone was giving me a hug.
I guarantee it. So is that the only ones that you got going on right now? Is the Blocker and the Nexus and stuff?
Nope. So that's the camo one that I'm doing. I also field staff for Zeus Broadheads. Mm-hmm. That's a relatively new one. I hunted with them last year, so I can't really speak on them because I didn't actually take anything with my bow last year. Last year was my main focus because my boss previously, year before that, got me a 350 Legend as a Christmas bonus.
Nice.
Last year I was like, well, I can't have a new gun and not have it, do something with it. So
right.
that was my main focus. So I didn't actually get to try out the Zeus Broadheads or anything, but killing sticks, arrows, I shoot those. I field staff for them as well. Those are some nice flying arrows, man.
I know somebody that shoots those as well.
Yeah, I like the killing sticks. But as for that, I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I'm in the mix with a lot of different stuff. It's just go on my Facebook and whatever picture you see, that's more than likely what I'm doing. That's
awesome. Have you ever thought about getting into filming or anything?
Yeah, and I actually tried it. Not last year, the year before that. I'm a big guy. I do everything with my phone. My pictures on my Facebook are with my phone. My videos are with my phone. Everything's my phone. So I haven't really invested in a camera yet. But first time I ever drew back on a doe with my phone recording, I didn't even post the video because it got 2 seconds of me talking. I'm focused on the deer. I'm not moving that camera.
Right.
So
I get it, man.
I think if I get real big into it, I'm going to have to learn to discipline myself on that, because, I mean, that's another thing that I'd see on, like, TV when Michael Waddell say there just wasn't enough camera light. I'm like, so what?
Shoot it.
you can see it.
Right. I would say if that's something that you really do want to get into, man, team up. Hell, buy your camera equipment. Make your wife be your cameraman.
Yeah, that'll be the day.
Or when little man grows up, get him behind the camera.
Oh yeah,
you behind the camera for him.
Oh yeah, that was one thing that I liked about joining Blocker with Nexus as well, because they have kids clothes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, for sure. They've
got youth clothes on there, so he plans on getting into it. I got him a little bow, and so I'm looking forward to that. And he did a little. If you dig far enough back in my Facebook, because I field staff for Luminoc too, he saw me out there shooting arrows at my target, and he heard me doing a video saying, light him up with Luminoc, and he went out there and shot his bow and said, "I lit him up."
That's awesome, man.
No, he's showing an interest in it, and I like that. I can't wait for him to start going.
Absolutely. I'm going to get my little man out for the first time this year. He'll be 6 years old by the time he gets to go. But I'm going to slowly, dip his toes in there before I throw him full out in there. And I'm going to do it the right way, man. I want to get him interested in it. I don't want to force him to do it or nothing like that. And take him to Hunter's Ed and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited for it as well. I do a lot of youth hunting with the neighbors' kids. So whenever we have youth season here in Indiana, he takes one of his boys, I take one of them, and we video the boys. Actually, a couple of my YouTube videos are them killing deer in September in the youth season, and it's pretty cool to watch, man.
Oh yeah, no, and I started acclimating him already by taking him on little squirrel hunts with me.
Yep.
I got my 22, and I posted another video of him shooting it because he's not big on guns. He's not big on noise and stuff like that. So I had him shooting my 22 at just nothing, just a group of trees, and starting to teach him patience and how to be quiet and stuff like that. Just slowly trying to acclimate him without sounding like I'm telling him what to do. So he'll just kind of get into it. Because I don't want him to get out there and be bored. That's for sure. I want him to enjoy his surroundings, and I want to see his face light up when he sees a deer walk up.
Right.
I really do. That's because I remember my face, and I mean, that was the best day of my life.
Absolutely, man, for sure. Well, man, I absolutely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me and do an episode. I know we kind of had to reschedule some stuff going on last week, but I thank you for coming on, man, and tell everybody where they can find you on your social media and follow you.
Well, it's just Jordan Brown on Facebook. On TikTok, I'm at Jordan_whitetail junkie. Same internet handle for Instagram as well, and I think I'm just whitetail junkie on Twitter. I can't remember. No one does Twitter anymore.
I'm a big Twitter guy.
Are you really?
Yeah, I am a big Twitter guy. Actually, a lot of my followers and listeners and stuff come from Twitter. I got in Twitter a couple years ago. I think I'm up to, 1,500 followers on there or something like that. But it's been pretty fun. But everybody, thanks for listening or for your watching on the YouTube. Give us a like, a comment, a follow, all that sort of stuff. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Go Wild. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find us just about anywhere that content's being made. TikTok, I always forget about mentioning TikTok, but
that's the new one though. So
right, that's true. But everybody have a good rest of your week, and go check out Jordan and his stuff. See you guys.